Hello everyone, I am Suraj KL and I have secured AIR 713 in UPSC CSE 2023 this year. And I am here on this platform to discuss a few aspects of my preparation strategy that I think has helped me clear this exam over the last 3 to 4 years. So, before I start off the preparation strategy, I would like to give you a context that helped me. See, we are preparing to join the civil services where we'll be heading the offices at the highest level and where we have to manage resources effectively. And it's a truth in all offices. Once you work in any central government or public sector, you will know that a resource crunch in any office is a common problem that's always there. Resource crunch may be seen in terms of manpower, in terms of material power, in terms of infrastructure power, or the talks. So it can be any of those. Likewise, the exam that we are giving should also be resource effective. What I mean to say is, with the minimum resources you have to be able to bring out the maximum output, and that is what they're looking for every officers. For example, the same thing happened during the corona pandemic. No one was prepared for that. There was no green book or blue book manuals to better assess and take care of the situation. It was all ad hoc on the spot and with the limited resources they have. And the administrative officers all are across our country did a fabulous job, because of which we were able to contain the virus. So when it comes to prelims, mains or interview, what you have to realize is no one can know every question that comes in prelims. This is a guaranteed. Every year, because of those new questions that comes out, new sources comes into the market. These questions have been asked from these books. These questions have been asked from these books. But prelims, as much as it's a test of knowledge, it's also a presence of mind. Although the 2023 paper has virtually eliminated the elimination strategy, but still, if you analyze the paper carefully, you can get to know that presence of mind and whatever knowledge you have, that's the resource part, right? That's a crunch. Resource is always in crunch. Knowledge is always in crunch. No matter how much you read, how much you can know is always in the crunch. But your presence of mind in that exam can help. And I'm sure there are many topper videos and other channels out in the YouTube that tries to delve into such attributes. But please beware that these are not magic strategies. If someone tells you can use these strategies and clear prelims without knowledge, please don't trust such people. But people who genuinely understand the exam and have the knowledge base to back it up, please follow such people. Coming to mains, see, mains is a very vast thing. I mean, just describing the syllabus: GS1, history throughout the world, India, modern, ancient, medieval, geography, human geography and the knots, social problems. GS2, governance, polity, IR. GS3 virtually includes everything from economy, agriculture, environment to science and tech, internal security and the works. And GS4 is ethics. So the paper in itself is so vast that preparing for all these papers individually will be a problem in itself. So what I did over the last couple of attempts was I integrated GS1, 2, 3 and 4 within each other. So there are certain problems in GS1 about society they ask, which have ethical dimensions from GS4, which you can incorporate. There are certain aspects in IR of GS2 that they ask, which can directly have bearing on the internal security of our country from GS3. So these papers, although they are segregated in the exam, they need not have to be segregated in the paper. But that doesn't mean to say you write a GS3 answer in GS1. But what I mean to say is GS1 paper should be factually heavy, because these are all factual papers. History, geography, largely factual, largely unchanging, easy to prepare, you know the resources. Revision is the key to the game, active recall. These things will help you remember the wide aspects of GS that's there, because even history and geography, if you break it down, you know the dimensions that comes in the paper. And moving on to GS2, GS2 should be brief, legally appropriate and precise. So what I mean to say is GS2 is about polity, governance, functioning, IR and other machinery. You don't have much scope for your own opinion there. Things are already constitutionally decided. Constitutional morality is well established. and the international relation precedents and the India stand on its foreign policy is well known. But when it comes to GS3, GS3 should be data heavy, right? Facts heavy, precision heavy, facts, and here it's data heavy. So data, reports, international organizations, treaties, conventions, practices, case studies, whatever you incorporate. Suppose you're reading a newspaper, you read about the Bede district where women are undergoing the uterus surgery so that they can work longer hours without any period leave. If that touches your heart, write it down. Bede women surgery. Yeah, it's a small line, and you can use it in women issues, societal issues, economics, everywhere. Female labor force participation. So just off the top of the bat, I gave 3 dimensions in 3 different papers which you can use. So it's all about using those resources, that limited reading that you have done, that limited data you have from here, and the limited articles and all these other knowledges you have here, and using them judiciously in order to give the best outcome. And how do you get the best outcome? By addressing every aspect of the question in GS. So GS questions actually like essay itself. So essay also many a times, even in 12th fail movie you would have seen, mainly we don't lose marks because of our poor expression, because at this point I would believe like everyone who is writing this exam or who is getting selected has that caliber, but we may lose marks because of our interpretation of the question itself. And this may not be the interpretation of the entire question, just a small part of the question which you add in the essay later part, and the examiner feels, oh wait, he went off the track. So make sure you never go off the track in essay. And see, but the tendency of writing is such that we tend to go off the track. There are a couple of paras that comes, but you have a callback option, and you can always say this is how, and then you can add the essay line and then reiterates the fact that, and then you can write the essay topic. But that's about it. There is nothing like extra special strategies that I have done other than a lot of answer writing, repeated answer writing, especially incorporation of PYQs and everything. Like I said, limited resources, especially this time I was working as well. So even for the working candidates, I would say I used to work and come back home. I used to study at work sometimes, which I would not recommend many because it may not be possible for all the offices. I was in a central government office, so it was a little possible. Newspapers in the office. Then come back home, just answer writing. Especially after prelims, it was just answer writing. And this will give you confidence, right? So you won't start answer writing because you don't have confidence. But the thing is, writing 1 or 2 lines, just 3-4 lines, and then continuing it day by day, that will give you confidence as well. So the key of the game is, especially in mains, it's about having clear expression, articulate thought process, and then confidence in your stance, especially in ethics and case study, right? So there is always a tendency to choose the diplomatic path, right? Or sometimes we choose the best path. But those paths are not always practical. So you have to go by the practicality of it as well. And then when it comes to like a question related to bribery, corruption, something dealing with MLA or something, we try to usually go by the sides of, I'll try to explain to him, I'll try to talk to him and everything. But I mean, how much can you talk to him? So strict, stern action and confidence in your stance is very important in order to give the answer its strength. So having covered those lines, coming to the interview is all about self-discovery and self-knowledge. As in, there are a few aspects of Mysore, Bangalore, like why Bangalore. See, I knew why Bangalore is the IT capital of India, but I knew it much better during my time of interview prep. I just knew one dimension. Karnataka had good educational institutions and everything, so engineers were easy to come by. But that is like the last reason. There were many other reasons which I discovered during the interview process, and even things about myself, how I react to stimulus, how I react during nervousness. All these things were helped by mock interviews which I took from several institutions, and they kind of help you skim away the fear that exists about interview and the whole room. And I do recommend, because if it's your first time giving interview, please don't enter the UPSC interview hall without giving mocks, because it's a very fresh experience and the nerves are too much even after giving mocks. So I would suggest that. But overall, I would say don't treat this exam more special than it already is. It is a special exam. Don't think too much about the results. Every attempt is a learning in itself. For example, when I failed CSAT, I knew I had to focus on CSAT. When I failed mains by 11 marks, I knew the papers in which I had to concentrate and focus on. And those helped me a lot. Coming to optionals, I did take coaching only for optionals, although I have not taken any coaching for GS or any other subjects. Coaching for optional, I would say, is necessary, but that's up to you because the syllabus are usually master's level. So if not coaching, at least you need some guidance of someone else who has cleared the exam in that particular coaching. And my optional was anthropology, and my preparation this year was largely dictated by outside books like Ember and Ember, Sapiens, Guns, Germs and Steel, Body, Lucid Translation. I mean, there are many books. Noam Chomsky's work on language. I had a lot of time this time, in the sense that no one has a lot of time, but I had already prepared 2-3 years for this. Some part of a static knowledge and the materials for anthropology was always built. So I didn't have to do a fresh reading of the same because I'd written mains once before. I just had to add on to the notes that I had made last year. But these books gave me a very different dimension in anthropology, right? The style in which you need to write an anthropology answer, the kind of words you need to have, the kind of thought process that runs into every discussion in anthropology, keeping humans and their ancestry and their culture at the center, gave me a newfound dimension in anthropology. And this time I'll also taken test series from another institute, and that also helped me a lot. So test series, good mentorship or guidance for your coaching, the likeness, the fondness to the subject. 2017, 2018, Anudeep Durushetty AR1, so he recommended this book Sapiens for all of us, and that was my introduction to anthropology, not Ember and Ember, and I fell in love with it immediately. So much so that I couldn't even think of going for any other optional, because if there is so much to study about man himself, why study out something else? Because we have been doing that in GS anyway. So having said that, I would like to say these things like mentorship, adequate test series, and good note preparation, and different literary sources to substantiate your answers would help. And that is the reason why, even though this time the anthropology paper was a little difficult, I had heard names like Arjun Appadurai and others, so that helped me a lot. So this is it about my preparation strategy. For anyone watching, all the best, keep at it and don't lose hope, but make sure that you don't just do UPSC, also follow a plan B. Thank you.